I'm Fox McPants, and today's going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we got some news. First and foremost, right here, if you'll notice down in the battle log, if you go over into Dungeons and into the Fire Knight Castle, you're going to see that stun sets are going to be 2x. Now, if you're familiar with Raid, 2x never really ever means 2x, because that's just how it works. If I had a nickel for every time I summoned on a 2x and didn't get anything, well, I think we'd all be millionaires. But you can see it right here, 2x stun down here as well. That's just the small little tidbit of news. The real interesting news that I saw today from a couple of the other content creators was the rapid change to how dungeons are going to work in Potion Keeps. So Potion Keeps, for those that didn't know, are going to jump from 15 all the way up to 20. And then your normal keeps, your normal dungeons, right, are going to go all the way up to 25. The biggest issue I have with this is not that they're going to 25, not even that they're changing, the affinities, right? Like, we've got everything all set up on our 20 teams, for a magic affinity. So this is my standard team. Clear it in 50 seconds to a minute. Just goes quick. Same with like Fire Knight and Ice Golem and Spider. I've got my team set up. They work, they run, they're efficient, 100%. They work all the time. And I'm sure you guys do too, right? The problem isn't the affinity. The problem is the change to the champions themselves. And what I mean is they're neutering, and I literally mean that, they're neutering the champions that we use the most. Now, maybe you don't have 2 Septimus, or 2 Royal Guards, or 2 Cold Hearts. But I would assume you've got 1 at this, when you start getting to that mid to late game, you probably have 1. Well, they're going to be rendered useless. And I'll give you an example simply. If you go over to the Doom Tower, you can see a lot of these champions, like, let's just go down here, right? Actually, let's just go to normal so we can get to the boss and I can show you. So the reason why is if you go back, let's just say, I think it was 2 cycles ago, Nether Spider. So Nether Spider has this mechanic. Let's see, where do I have him? Here we go. So this is like my typical Nether Spider team right now. And it's only because of the change that they made. And once we get to the Nether Spider boss, I'll explain it. But basically, if you have a max enemy HP champ, they're limited in what they could do. So before, you just clear out the wave, no problem. You just rush through it, get to the boss, bang, bang, bang with a couple of Cold Hearts, maybe a Septimus, maybe a Royal Guard. Usually his affinity predicated more on the Septimus and Cold Hearts. And then in 5 seconds, the boss was dead. Well, they changed the mechanics to these bosses. Nether Spider now does his first ability right out the gate, right? Like, you can't stop that. Even that wasn't a big deal, right? You could survive that. It's fine. The issue is things like the max enemy HP. They're just not usable. You can't use them. And if you have an account that's late or end game, even mid game, you're effectively taking away the usefulness of these champs. And I don't understand Plarium's thinking in this, because they've said over and over and over in posts we don't want to restrict the use of champions. We want to create buffs. We saw that in the last patch, right? The only real nerfs that came about were to Rhodos and Siphi. And Siphi wasn't really nerfed. Her turn meter was changed minutely, okay? So here we go. So we're at the boss now. Let's see here. Right here. Damage from skills that scale based on enemy max 8. Please stay on the screen. Do I have to hold the button? Okay. Damage from skills that scale based on enemy max HP cannot exceed 10% of the boss's max HP. So what that means is that you can't come in here with the Cold Heart anymore. You can't come in here with a Septimus, a Royal Guard, or anybody who does these moves based on max HP. Even somebody like the undead guy, I can't think of his name right now. Husk. They just don't do anything, right? So we had to recreate all these teams, which was fine. It was a challenge, but we got through it. And now we do the HP burn strat, for the most part, right? That's what most people do just to get through this. And it takes a little while. You have to build a variety of champions around the HP burner just to make sure that he doesn't die. And I'm not saying we're not going to figure this out, okay? We're going to find these dungeons. They're going to be annoying at first. Everybody's going to be in uproar and mad, and then we're going to figure it out. But that's not the point of this video. The point of the video is the fact that we have invested a lot of resources, okay? I personally have, I know that, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably have too, and it's just frustrating, right? Because when you nerf somebody like a Rhodos, okay, and the whole point behind his nerf, I think was justified to an extent, right? I have Rhodos, so I feel I'm empowered enough to say that. But he was broken, okay? But even in his nerf state, he's still usable. I still use him. I use him on my hedgy defense teams. I use him in my full-on defensive 3v3 teams. So I found a way to use him. So he's not completely worthless, is what I'm saying. That's the big stipulation between the two, is that you have somebody that, okay, maybe you have to rethink how you're going to use him. But if you take away his ability to effectively do his move, like a Septimus, right? On his A2, Holy Sword. Like, all he has now in his arsenal is his A1, which, again, is still solid. It's good. I kill an enemy, I get an extra turn, I get Holy Sword back. That's not going to help me on bosses, though, and that's why I would bring him in, okay? So I bring him in, like I have Septimus in most of my teams, okay? So I already showed you Fire Knight. He's one of my 3 nukers. So these 3 nuke down the boss. They take down the shield, the 3 of them, right? Because he's got a 4-hitter and then, a couple, like 1-hitters, but no big deal. They both have 4-hitters on their A1. They're going to take down that guy's shield. And then the 3 of them are just going to nuke him down quick. We take you to Ice Golem. Same thing, right? So Ice Golem, when I'm trying to speed farm it, same thing. I've got my Royal Guard and I got my Septimus. The only reason Rhodos is in there is just to maybe get lucky on blocking Revive on one of the 2 side ads. That's it. But now, none of this is going to matter, okay? I mean, will I maybe keep a Septimus in here to manage the ad control for the first 2 waves? Maybe. It depends. But more than likely not. And the example I give you is that Nether Spider I just showed you. he's not in any of my Doom Tower teams. Royal Guard is not in any of my Doom Tower teams. Because the way you build nukers is counterintuitive to the nature they're trying to push us towards, which is high amounts of defense, HP, survivability, long fights. So that's the biggest issue. The other side issue is if we take a stage 20, currently, and I think the last math I saw from BGE was 17%. So currently on stage 20, I have a 17% chance of getting a 6-star artifact. That means I have an 83% chance of getting a 5-star artifact. And when you start getting to that late game stage, gone are the days of 5 stars. You don't keep 5 stars very often. Maybe if it's a legendary piece and it's got fantastic substats. But for the most part, you're looking for 6 stars. Especially on those middle pieces, the glove, the boots, and the chest. Because you want to maximize your ability to do damage and be as effective and efficient as possible. And that's so my question is okay, so if it's 17% now, what's it going to be at 21, 22, 23? So my recommendation, I doubt they're going to do it, but they've talked about it in the past, right? If we go back, it might have been the first iteration of the roadmap. They talked about mythical items. And if that's the reward for stage 25, and mythical is actually really good, and when I say good, I mean like they better have great substat rolls, right? Not like 5 or 6%. I want to see 7, 8%. You know, that's what I'm looking for. Then maybe it'll be worth it, because I can beat Ice Golem in under a minute. I can beat Dragon in under a minute. Fire Knight in under a minute. If I have to switch, say, my Spider team from an 11-second farm to, say, the old school way I used to do it, right? The HP burn strat, kind of like my Doom Tower team, right? A lot of support around the guy doing the HP burn, and that's about it. Then the rewards need to justify the time increase, in my opinion. And the last thing I'll say that I saw was just baffling, aside from the fact that I can't use my max enemy HP champions anymore, is the fact that now they're going to have a mechanic to where turn meter doesn't work. So we already have that in Dragon. That's why you don't see Cold Hearts in Dragon, right? That's typically why you see Royal Guards. So yet again, now that limits me from, say on the Spider, right? The biggest thing that we want to focus on is, okay, HP burn on everybody, limit the big Spider, and then just try and take damage. And then eventually he'll die, right? Well, if I can't reduce his turn meter, now I've got to eat all that damage all the time. So that just extends the run even longer, because now, okay, I eat the damage, new Spiderlings come out, now I have to put the HP burn. It's just, like, I get it. You're throwing more mechanics, you're trying to make it more challenging, and that's great Plarium. The rewards have to cut the snuff, because if they don't, no one's going to do it. Like, flat out, just not going to do it. I mean, the energy price is going to go up. It's already 16. I'll bet you at 25 it's going to be 20 energy per go. And if it still stays at 17% to get a 6-star, or there isn't some, mythical style armor coming out, you're missing the mark here, is what I'm saying. So if you like this content, I really hope that you look at it and subscribe to the channel. You can also check me out on twitchtv.foxmcpants. And thank you for your time. I hope you guys all have a great day.